Okay, follow up to last week's podcast. Today we're going to be speaking about incentive-based plans and bonus structures. And this is the number one conversation that we get from people all the time in regards to, well, it's very subjective, and why should I bonus my people, my employees? Because isn't it quote unquote part of their job? Aren't they getting paid to do their job? So why would I give them incentive and additional bonuses for something that's under their job description or the roles, goals, or duties? And yeah, you can continue to look at it from that perspective. Our recommendation is that you don't, and that you will have ROIs and KPIs in place in regards to measuring the effectiveness of the bonus. But if you look at it from a place of the things that you believe your team should be doing, whether you're an entrepreneur and or the team leader, CEO, professional legal administrator, call it whatever resonates with you. Yes, they should be doing it because it's their job, but we're all humans and we have a lot coming at us, especially when you're in a small solo practice, but we're also motivated by something that speaks into our listening in a way that makes a difference for us. So I say, if you come at it from a place of the things that are frustrating you, and behind every frustration is a breakthrough, and look at the things that you believe people should naturally or intuitively be doing, or from a place of professionalism or humanism, whatever, but they're not occurring consistently, constantly, and you feel like you have to babysit and or remind people, pick it from that place. The common themes that we hear are the calendar, workflow, production, over-delivering and over-communicating with clients and referral sources. What we hear is just taking the extra steps and the measures and slowing down, paying attention to detail, the very, very finite details, whether it be the details. These are some common ones that I've been hearing over the years. Your professional dress and how you come into the office and dressing like you have $1 million client waiting in the waiting room, or paying attention to how you craft an email or a letter and going the extra mile versus, dear client, here's your update. And just putting some compassion, some empathy, some genuine care and concern into your messaging, whether it be in the written format or the verbal format, email, phone call, what have you. Listening to phone calls in the way that you handle an inbound or outbound call, and putting that white glove service on that. Those are the types of projects that we're paying attention to, where entrepreneurs feel really, really bad, like they're being a pain in the ass, or they're have unrelenting standards and they don't want to upset their team, afraid that they're going to walk out, or they're asking too much in regards to these little things, is what I hear from people all the time, but they are not little. They are the things that distinguish you in the marketplace. They are things that over communicate with your clients. It's, not just about project based, but again, I'll show you how to make these into a project, but they're the things of what would the emotional and the energetic capital be worth to you if you can have the freedom to speak about these things, to name these things, and to consistently remind people when we're not doing this, where there's something at stake for them to go that extra mile. These are the things that are about up-leveling. They're about scaling. They're about personal and professional development. I like to say that you're being rewarded from a place of mentorship that many of us are not taught, and many entrepreneurs feel guilty about naming and asking and expecting this of people, really having what we call that entrepreneur mindset. So there's several types of bonus systems that you can put into place for your team. And here are a few. It could be a team revenue bonus. And again, if you email us, we'll give you a sample incentive-based compensation plan in addition to the designation and discernment of the different bonus systems that we're talking about today. Number one, it could be a team revenue bonus system, like I said. Number 2 can be an individual bonus system, and it doesn't have to be an either or. It can be an and, or it can be project-based. Number 3, project-based bonus. And again, you can have all 3 of them going on at any given time. And the tools that you want to have in place to support you with will be a growth map that would indicate what type of bonuses and what type of projects these are being based on. And again, you can always email us for sample. And then you would have your team incentive-based compensation plan laid out, what the key measurements need to be met, and then how it gets paid out. You would have an employee growth plan, commonly known as an employee evaluation process, in place. And then again, another tool that we talk about consistently is a praise pool plan to keep people motivated in real time. And as always, you can email me if you want to get a copy and a sample of these systems. But for today's podcast, we're just talking about the how and why. So if you're going to fight on this, there's many times that I've had several conversations with people and I hear over and over again, well, how do I know if that's just in their job description? That's what I'm already paying them for. Or if this is really, truly something that's over and beyond. If you're already coming into this conversation with that mentality, don't even bother. Because yes, you could split finite hairs and say, theoretically, in a court of law, if we are standing in a court of law, yes, you probably are already paying them for this. That's not the point of an incentive-based compensation and or bonus plan. The premise of it is for you to get rid of your frustration, for you as an entrepreneur and or team leader to have full faith and confidence in what your team members are striving for, and that you can eliminate these lower vibration things that just drive you absolutely insane, but we really don't know how to fix them. And what we're doing right now is having consistent come to Jesus meetings or slinging emails or what have you, or if you have an HR team or a C-level team in place, that they're having these sit-down conversations. They don't work. So in my experience, so let's go back to turning it into what does work and speaking about these, getting people behind your mission and you not feeling bad about pointing out when it's not occurring because there's something at stake for the employees above and beyond a paycheck to want to up-level and grow. So the first system that we mentioned was number 1, team revenue bonus system. And a team revenue bonus system is based on the achievement of a revenue goal. So some people do share monthly revenue goals. I know many of our clients and listeners do have a monthly revenue goal. And quite often, I'll have team members prior to working with us say, well, I'm just a receptionist. What do I have to do? How do I make any impact on us making or breaking revenue goal? And you do. And once I get team members, everybody from the receptionist to the associate attorney to the CEO to the COO behind it, they very clearly see how your receptionist is your sales force. And if they don't make people feel safe, acknowledged, heard, and can make them feel compassion, empathetic, et cetera, and they don't deliver that, then they're not going to hire you. And you as entrepreneur or attorney in the conference room, your job's almost irrelevant, because if the person on the front lines answering the phones can't get the person to feel safe and acknowledged and heard and taking the right next action, then you don't have a client or prospective new client to meet with. So we recommend that when you start to instill a team revenue bonus-based system, and ideally the people that get behind this are the ones that are already sharing monthly revenue goals. Number 1, you would make it based on profit. And this has everyone thinking like a business owner, what we speak often about an entrepreneur in the entrepreneur's world. And they're aware of, while it's great to bring in more gross revenue, you have to make sure that expenses are kept in check. And it encourages team to both generate and collect income and look for better ways to reduce expenses as well. So we love having a tiered system where as each level you surpass the bonus amount increases and encourages the team to keep pushing even when the achievement of the first goal is made, because there's a tier bonus system for over and beyond base revenue goal. And again, that will be shared in the sample. If you want that, just email me at molly@hiringandempowering.com and I will be glad to share that. There's no one way to have a successful team revenue bonus system, but we like to recommend a quarterly bonus period. Many people do it on annual, and a year is an awfully long time to maintain momentum, and a month is sometimes too short to see your results in action, especially when it's from a place of profitability. A quarterly bonus system, and you'll see this in the sample that we share, is that a portion is paid out at the quarter, which keeps your team inspired and excited. And again, it's not from a place of manipulation, but very much from a place of empowerment. And then a portion of it's banked for the end and paid out towards a year-end bonus. And it's for the people that are left standing, the people that are still there and employed and worked very, very hard, and they're committed and going above and beyond. What I like about this too is it eliminates discretionary bonuses. So often I'll hear people say, well, at the end of the year, I'm feeling backed against the wall. I'm feeling that my team worked really hard, even though we didn't make X, Y, and Z goal, whether it's based on profit, projects, people, process, what have you. And you just make up this number. You pull it out of thin air. It's based on emotions. It's based on, the warm and fuzzies of the holidays, et cetera. This eliminates that. And it's something that is already upfront, clear, concise, well communicated, trackable, measurable. And then at the end of the year, if you want to give something above and beyond, you can pick a discretionary number. But this eliminates all of that kind of emotionality, and it makes it about the numbers and about the business and about the declared goals that you put up front. Second area of goal and bonus systems that you could put in place is individual bonus systems. And again, you might have this in place in addition to the revenue-based bonus, but individual bonuses are based on each team member's role and responsibilities in the firm. And the bonus should be based on the team members' most important activities. So if you've read our books, our blogs, and downloaded any of our employee review processes, employee performance plans, we talk about your top 3 most important activities. If you're implementing any of our weekly stakeholder meeting agendas, that's every single week, everybody's declaring what their top 3 for the week is. So this is based on their most important, and the definition of important is that it always impacts the bottom line, impacts their role, whether it be from place of production, profitability, process, etc. But don't just find the easy thing to bonus them on. That might not be the areas you really want to see results and growth in. Look for the 3 most important activities of a team member, including new things you want them to learn and be accountable for. Then find specific measurements that will achieve the results you want. The key is to make sure what you are measuring is within the team member's influence. If not, it won't motivate them. They won't get behind it. They will run out of gas very quickly. So as a way of example, if your client service coordinator's most important activities is making sure you have a new potential client appointments on your calendar, and for example, your goal is to have 10 new appointments a month, then the bonus, he or she, when she gets a 10 appointments scheduled, and for each appointment above 10, there's a number. So now he or she's fully responsible for getting the phone to ring with prospects. No, maybe not. That's ideally marketing's job. But if their bonus is based on getting the calendar fill, they definitely will be tracking the incoming phone calls and your referral sources and meeting with you weekly to give you a report and let you know where you stand and asking what you can do to help and or giving you the information such as, okay, we had 20 new phone calls this week. They all came from a Facebook ad and none of them convert. They won't answer my phone calls. They won't answer my emails. They have been consistently canceling or no-showing on their appointments. I don't know, but I don't really think this is a good, vessel, funnel for us to deploy because I've been tracking it for a month and I can't get these people to move. They're unqualified. So let's shut this down and maybe try something else. I got 4 phone calls this month from financial advisor Bob Smith, and every single one of them moved forward. Not only did they do it on the first phone call, they actually showed up for their appointments and they retained us and hired us. So it's 100% conversion rate on this one medium where it's creating a false hope or reality that we got X amount of phone calls from this Facebook ad. Yeah, everyone's super pumped and excited that the phone's ringing off the hook, but they're garbage or not converting. And that's the difference. Her job or his job, their job is to follow up with clients, make sure that they move them to the next right action, whether it be a scheduled appointment or what have you, and they can do that. But if there's a bonus for getting 10 to convert and there's an additional bonus for getting 20, any above 10, they're going to not necessarily work harder. They're going to work smarter. And what is it to you if you write a bonus for that? Because you're getting the intended results, which is a full calendar, diagnostic of qualified and unqualified leads, looking at our conversion rates and making certain that people are being followed up on and feeling like they're important and getting white glove service. Hello? Like I'd write a check for that all day long, whether it's in their job description or not. Another example could be if you're drafting paralegal's most important activity is drafting estate planning documents for your review. And you could bonus them on each trust that they draft, but what would that encourage them to improve and grow in? Instead, you could bonus them for each plan they prepared for your review 1 week prior to signing date with no errors in names, addresses, and other factual details that we hear over and over again. That is the biggest frustration of the attorney, that we're making these simple, careless errors. Number one. Number two, that we don't get the documents in time for us to properly review them, print and assemble. We're getting them as the client's pulling into the parking lot, and then the printer jams up. And then it's hair on fire moment trying to get everything ready for the client. The client comes in and they're sensing all of the chaos, unnecessary chaos in the office. And this is the biggest breakdown that we hear in any area of law is the breakdown between getting documents prepared in time for the attorney to review. And then the next breakdown in the process is from changes to review and print and assemble in preparation for, showtime, if you will. So this has been an area that we've seen with great, great success. Or we like the idea of bonusing on having documents prepared for your review 1 week before, and maybe them getting somebody else empowered to print and assemble, because we all know in every area of law, printing and assembling and preparing documents can be anywhere north of 45 minutes, which will allow them to draft more documents, and they could come to you with the idea. So maybe one of the bonuses, come to me with 3 different ideas for areas of improvement of effectiveness and efficiency in this area. And it improves your system as well. So you're not having the awful experience of your paralegal constantly delegating up or needing you to clarify something in the plan design you can't remember because you met with the client 3 weeks ago, which is another common complaint that we have. Or maybe a bonus system for your front desk or office manager. We love the idea of bonusing whoever's in charge of handling office expense like office supplies, phone service, CRMs, et cetera, and how much they can reduce expenses, but while increasing efficiency and effectiveness. And their bonus can be a percentage of what they save the office by finding more cost-effective providers and methodologies around the office. So pulling a P&L and looking at our top 3 office expenses or technology or platforms, whatever it might be, and finding a way to reduce them, whatever it might be. So often it's something as simplistic as printing, office equipment, office supplies, things of that nature, where we're like, how in the world is our office supply bill X when every time I open up the cabinet in the hallway, there's 700 legal pads in there. And why do we keep ordering them? It's things of that nature. Bonus number 3 can be project bonuses. And again, this isn't an either or. Many firms have all 3 in place. They have a revenue if they share revenue. If you don't share revenue with your team, and not from a place of lack of trust, sometimes people don't know their numbers. They don't have the tracking, measurement, and reporting in place, and that's okay. You can start with the 3rd option here, which is project bonuses. And this is a great type of bonus to implement. It can be given in an individual or a group of team members. So we already talked about the individual bonuses. Sometimes there'll be an individual lead on this, but the team will always get behind them and support them in this and show up and go the extra mile because it's a team bonus based on project. So again, you can email us and we'll send you the system for this, Molly@hiringandempowering.com. And I will send you the system for the project-based bonuses. What I love about this, and you'll see this in the system, is that you typically facilitate. I don't recommend much more than a half-day internal retreat. We talked about internal retreats earlier, and this is one of the tools that would be implemented in there. But it's something where you can identify what your top 3, top 4, top 5 projects are, and you're reviewing this every single week in your weekly stakeholders meeting and getting an update on it, seeing where somebody's jammed up, if they're the team lead, etc. But this bonus is for completing a project. And yes, you will identify it. There won't be any esoteric where you feel like you're backed against the wall as an entrepreneur. There'll be consistent tracking, measurement, reporting, updating. So there's no just kind of hairy-fairy stuff that's going on that I hear from people. Well, is it an all or nothing? Yeah, it's an all or nothing, but halfway through, if you're looking at it every single week, you'll identify where there's loopholes, where this project might not make sense after you start diving into it a week or 2 and you replace it with something else. As long as there's consistent communication, consistent reporting and update every single week, and then clarification, you won't get to a place where you feel like you're backed against the wall, where they didn't finish it, because you're consistently evaluating it every single week. So the project-based bonus could be for getting all your old files scanned and shredded, or for getting new brochure finally designed and updated, printed, and in our welcome packets, or for researching drafting software programs, or helping you make a decision on which program to purchase, get three quotes, make a presentation of the best, etc., getting it installed and all team members trained and on it, and implementing at least, the calendar, the automation, and the workflow. Some offices have a standard number of projects that they have team working on each quarters. Other approaches as needed, but it works like a charm every single time. And it completely avoids the, I don't have time to do this. I already have too much work on my plate mentality. The key is making sure what has to occur for the project to be considered that complete is crystal clear. And saying the new brochure has to be quote unquote done can mean a variety of things. Like we said, that that done is that it's in the welcome folder. We've all approved on the draft, the language, the content, the pictures, everything. Final draft's been submitted to the printer. We all know what it means when we need to order more. The printer's set up with all the specs and things of that nature. And we've already been implemented. They're already out in the hands of our ideal clients and referral source. And it's a huge distinction because printing can take several weeks after the final proof is approved, right? Or everybody will say, well, we approved our part, but it's been sitting on the attorney's desk for 3 weeks. No. Everybody knows what complete means, and it's very clearly defined. It's clear, concise, well communicated with deadlines and everything. And again, if you're reviewing it every single solitary week, there's no question about what complete means. So these are some examples of why of 3 examples of different bonus incentive-based structures. Again, you can have all 3 deployed at the same time from a revenue perspective, individual bonuses, and projects. If you're not sharing revenue, then you might just have individual, which goes hand in hand with your team's quarterly reviews, which we are huge proponents of, versus annual. And then in addition to project-based, which ultimately has the beneficiary is the firm, is the business, is the clients, is the referral sources, process, people, profit, all of that. It's not just these woo-woo projects that makes everyone feel good. Ideally, people will pick in places of marketing, lead generation, process, lead conversion, and decreasing the attorney's time stress, the entrepreneur's time stress, and really every person in the firm delegating or up-leveling and not delegating up, but taking ownership and stepping into that entrepreneur and entrepreneur's world mindset. So, any of the tools and the strategies that we spoke about today, we will be happy to share every single one of them with you. But we cannot say enough. If you're already walking into this and you haven't been transformed through this podcast in your mindset that, well, it's their job, they're already getting a paycheck, they should just be doing it, then this may not be the time for you to implement this because you might have some mindset work to do around the employee mentality and believing people should just be lucky to have a paycheck. If you are an entrepreneur who has some consistent frustrations where every time you open up the office supply closet, you see 10 million boxes of paper clips or legal pads or what have you, which is a very common thing, or 5 boxes of toner where they cost $85 a clip and nobody's managing this inventory, and you're seeing what people define to us as quote unquote these little things where they feel like they're being a hard ass or they feel like that they're having unrelenting standards. Those are not little things, because if they're happening in your supply closet, which is usually where the flashlight is the strongest, they're happening in many different areas within your practice, which does impact the bottom line. It impacts profit, process, and your people. So, as promised, this is a second podcast to after we talked about internal law firm retreats. This is an idea that you can implement in your strategic retreats, and hopefully you're going to be deploying those in 2020 if you haven't. And this could be one of the first topics that you bring to the table in your first quarterly retreat of 2020 in regards to creating our power projects, in addition to implementing an incentive-based compensation plan. Let us know how you do with this. If you need any support or help, again, shoot me an email at molly@hiringandempowering.com. I'll share any or all of the tools that we talked about today. And if you need any help with getting on board with the retreat or the incentive-based compensation plans, by all means, let's hop on a call and let's unpack that for you. All right. This has been another episode of Hiring and Empowering Solutions. And as always, I am your host, Molly McGrath. And next week, we are going to be talking about mastering your next law firm marketing move. This is something that people have asked us to speak about, as this is the number one topic on the internal law firm retreats, of how to deploy and set up an effective marketing plan, strategy, and accountability. So be on the lookout for next week. Until then, have a great week.